All right, we're live.
Hello all. I think we have 3 hours left. 3 hours. I had an email that I received from, I don't know much about her yet. I just got the email, and one of the questions, let me go ahead and pull up the email here because this really is a wonderful question. She is an artist and writer, and she runs a women's writing group in Maryland, and would love to know more about what's going on with online events. And she is also into marketing. She's a marketing communications coach. And I sent her the link. I'm
Yeah.
hoping she was able to step in and listen. So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to explain exactly what's been going on here for 3 days. We have 3 hours left. Um, Basically, this is an online convention called Cyber Convention, and it's been hosted by my company, Brain to Books. And basically, it started off with an idea of doing a blog tour, and then we started bringing in a collection of authors. And as I got authors together, such innovative minds, almost all of them brought an idea with them. And I don't say no to ideas. So when I started bringing all these authors together, someone would pop off and say, hey, you know what would be awesome is if we did this. And I said, sure, do it. And then somebody else would say, I could do this. And I said, sure, do it. And we organized it so it all synchronized on the same day, and we all put it online. So it turned into a convention. Last year we had 160 members who could go into Goodreads, walk our fairgrounds, our virtual fairgrounds, hop around on booths, buy cotton candy, and enter into a giveaway or two. This year we branched out to Facebook, and Joe jumped in with his I'd love to do some live coverage, and I said yes, and he said I'd love to do 72 hours of live constant coverage. And I said, you're insane, but go for it. And he did. And you have, when was the last time you slept, Joe?
Well, I slept this morning, but it was only 4 hours. Oh, actually, this last night was 3 hours because we had such a lively crew last night.
Yeah,
We were up pretty late, and then the night before was 4 hours.
yeah, yeah. 7 hours in 72 hours he has slept. So thank you, Joe. You are the man. That's insane. Aurelia, owner of the AVBC, Aurelia's Virtual Book Club. She'll be joining us here in a moment. She jumped on and said, hey, you know what I would love to do is some panel discussions. And I said, yes, go for it. And we threw together some Facebook events. Those have been buzzing on and off all weekend. And what ended up happening, and Corey DeMiller, I need to get her on here now. She needs to come in. Corey DeMiller jumped in and said, you know, this would be absolutely awesome if I could join in and host my blab. And Charlene Jones says, you know, I've got a radio show for, off the top through Whistle Radio in my area. And everyone literally just kind of came together and offered what sources they had. And one person standing alone had a really, really cool source that they could offer. But when we synchronized it, it exploded, and our 160 members from last year jumped up. I think our final number was 778 members this year. I just sent out a bulletin letting everyone know about our ceremony after party. I have Cover Wars here. I'll be announcing the winner in 2 hours' time. So Cover Wars is now open and available and ready to go. Head over to my website or Goodreads. The link is there so you can go vote. Joe, how's the character tournament going? Did we wrap
Yeah,
that
I
up?
can give you the winner. Hang on, let me pull it up real quick. Well, it looks like a protagonist is going to win. And
Okay.
it's Anjali, or Anjali, Anjali, from the Third Throne,
Mm-hmm.
Angel of Vengeance book. Um, an immortal. So we have a new champion.
I know who that is. That person took out my Berrigan.
Yes, they did.
I am glad to know that Berrigan lost against the final. So in my mind, it happened like this. Berrigan wiped everybody out and made his way to the top and faced off with the winner and lost by 1 point, because that's what happened with my match against the winner. So it was Bergen versus the Immortal, so I feel good about that.
We
He'll fill
had over
wires.
1,700 votes.
Wow. I wish I could have set up on Brackify. I sent out some information and I didn't hear anything back, so I'm definitely going to try and get a hold of Brackify against next year because jumping in and out with the cover wars was exhausting. So
Yeah.
that's and I did speak to Aurelia about doing a conference in 1 week with everybody coming together and sitting down and examining the ins outs and having a massive group discussion. Aurelia proposed it being live so we could examine what worked, what didn't.
Sure.
We invite all of you, please, to join us for that. And, of course, mostly important, we want your opinions. If you want to jump on and say this thing was crap, that's great. Do so. And then please tell us why. I will be sending out a survey for everybody tomorrow. We have one going through the fairgrounds, and I will be sending one to my authors out through backstage, asking very generic, anonymous, what did you think? How did you feel it went? And again, you can anonymously tell me it was crap, or you can tell me it was great. Whatever you need to do. It's not a problem. We just need data. I think that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna do what I would love to do, what I haven't done all week or all weekend, and really promo my books and talk about them for a minute. Because I've been so busy running that I haven't had a time to talk about my awesome books. I am a fantasy author and everything else author. I do multi-genre with a forte in fantasy. And I wrote my first fantasy over 7 years with avid research focused on Scandinavia, 10th century Europe, and the system and the culture around that time period. I love cats, coffee, zombies, and all things nerd. And my bio is available at my website, www.angelabchrysler.com. I started picking up story time back in December and found out that I really, really like to read books, and I am not so bad, and I actually had one author who contacted me and asked me to do an audiobook. So this summer I will be starting to record audiobooks. Woohoo! So, Dollar and Shadow is the one you've been staring at in the back all weekend, and this is book 1 of the Tales of the Drury series. Book 2 is due out in July. July 1st, 2016 is the projected release date, and I'm going to say yes, that's the date. And on July 1st, 2016, I'm also planning to put together a Brain to Book Summer Book Blast like we did last year for the Indie Pride Day, exactly as we did last year, which is also why I set up my release for that day, which will be awesome. So I also already am taking subscriptions for that. I have sign-ups available over at, if you need information, just email me at angelabchrysler.com and I'll get you the information for the book blast that we'll be doing for Indie Pride Day. So Dollar and Shadow is about a woman by the name of Colin. She is an elf, and she is also queen of her people. She also happens to be a witch, and her powers are so strong that her people came in and suppressed them, a very certain someone. And basically it was in an attempt to keep her safe for reasons I won't explain. But now that she's older, her powers are starting to grow, and they cannot keep her safe as much as they'd like anymore. And that poses a threat. And after a whole bunch of hullabaloo, she ends up lost in this world that's very dangerous. It also happens to be 10th century ancient Norway in the middle of Jotunheim. And she is paired up with none other than her nemesis, the very man who she thinks killed her father. And she has to not only get along with him, but learn how to ally herself with him in order to survive, which, Kalan being what she is very difficult for her. And that story, this is actually kind of a part 1. That story continues with Fire and Lies. And I can't tell you really much about Fire and Lies because if you haven't read Dollar and Shadow, it will ruin it. But it does. It is part 2 of Colin's journey and what happens with that power as it grows stronger, if she survives, how the situation with her enemy continues, and the background between her enemies as well. The second book that I've written is Broken, which is, I'm going to call it a memoir for a lack of words, but I really hate calling it a memoir. I wrote Broken more as a journal. It was I need to sit down and reflect on what I am, where I've come from. And I wrote it for me, 100% as a journal entry. This is how writers write journal entries. This is one. When it was done, I thought it was something decent, so I asked a friend of mine, Stanislava Dikohut, who I hope will be joining us this evening. I asked her if she would take a look at it, and her response back was, "You would absolutely better publish this book. It is fantastic." So in a hope to keep it preserved, I did not. I edited it once, sent it to my editor, and revised it once. The book has seen very few editing, very little raw revision work because I wanted to capture as much and preserve as much as I did when I was in the state that I was in. Unlike all other memoirs, this was not written after my medical treatment, after my therapy, a year after my therapy and I was healthy. This was written just before I started it. I started it because I had written Broken and came to some revelations while writing it. So it is a beautiful look into what the mind does and how it looks with trauma and what happens with that. And it is a very, very dangerously dark read if you do not have a strong stomach. If you have a sensitivity to animal abuse, rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, this will probably be a very difficult read or something you should not read. So those are my current babies, and they're available on sale right now on Amazon. The ebook is down to 99 cents. So please jump on Amazon. You can search Stoller and Shadow or Angela B. Chrysler, and they will definitely pop up for you. And my third brain baby is Brain to Books, which you are all standing in or watching this. And Brain to Books is something I built together about a year ago when Stoller and Shadow was finished. I needed a way to market it and get it out there, so I developed the Cyber Convention. And it was such a wonderful event for other authors that I got this massive, we need to do this again, yes, next year, which is this year. And yes, absolutely, I'm going to be doing it again in 2017 and thereon. So that is me, that is who I am. Hello, Aurelia. She's here, I know she's here. She's drinking her tea. I don't know if she's ready to join us. Did you have a favorite part of the evening, Joe?
I'm sorry?
Did you have a favorite part of the convention?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, just talking to everybody, getting to see everybody's face and putting names to faces and voices and hearing everybody's story and feeling not so alone anymore in the world of
Yeah, I
our
think that's really
crazy
it.
world.
This really, and I said it on one of the panel discussions earlier or somewhere, there's been so much dialogue. Writing is a very lonely existence, like Ernest Hemingway miserable. And Ani put it beautifully today. She said that when I first had asked for an author picture a few weeks ago, she was like, no. And with this, she got to the convention, and she's like, you know what? I'm diving in. And I don't think she did until almost day 2, but she extended a massive thank you because it really, it us we all suddenly went from introverts in our little cave out into this expanded. It's like cyber hug everyone.
You can be an introvert
and an
be
extrovert
alone in your
at the
room
same
and have
time.
conversations with people at the same time.
It's a big deal to authors.
It is
I
a big
can have
deal.
a social life without actually being an extrovert.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I feel, honestly, I feel like that more than anything. I mean, and my husband will come home and he's like, I sit in an office all day and I write. It's a miserable existence. And he's like, you get to talk to people all day. And yeah, I'm on like typing away and talking to people. But I didn't realize just how antisocial even that is. And I'll tell you this really, I think I it feels so good. It really feels so good. Aurelia, did you have a favorite part of the weekend?
I don't know. I haven't really been processing it. I was off for what, 20 minutes? And and like my uncle was talking about everything that they'd fixed at my grandmother's house. It was like, this is that to me is that didn't happen. What?
Yeah, yeah,
What?
and it's yeah. Jen was talking about doors, and okay, this is great. Ready? I have to go take care of my cat, who is like looking out from under the door, going meow. So I'm gonna go let my cat out. I'll be right back.
All
I
right.
had that. That's a funny story that didn't make it onto the panel discussions because it happened in between the panel discussions. But I was eating lunch today, and I've got all of this stuff on my desk, and I don't know how to make the camera turn to show you,
Sure.
but usually the desk is mostly clear, and the cat decided that she wanted to eat my macaroni and cheese as I was eating it, because they only want to eat whatever it is that you're eating as you're eating it. As soon as you
Mhm.
stop eating it, it's like gone bad.
Mhm.
Um, so she's knocking on the door and knocking on the door and knocking on the door. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll let you in. And I do, and she's like trying to climb up on the desk in order to get to my food. And it's turned into an obstacle course, and she's just confused and like she's like, what did you do to my jungle gym? You messed it up. And then she stood there like in front of the camera. So like there was one person who was on the call before we went live who was early, and she got to watch, cat fur.
Yeah,
Patch of
yeah,
cat fur instead of me. Because the cat was sitting right here,
yep.
and she was just, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet?
There was
And
this day that
I took a bite and I put my bowl over so she could like lick the extra cheese off the bowl, and she almost made all of my computers fall over because she was like
oh
slipping. She was trying to get there so fast because, the bowl sitting there for 30 seconds before she gets to it makes it not good anymore.
I am emailing Corey
Anyway,
and
but
Charlene for
I
us.
will probably mute myself again in maybe 5 minutes because I have like 2 sips of tea left and the water is boiling or taking
Yeah,
a long time to boil. And
I think I'm gonna go grab another cup of coffee, but not until you get back. That way Joe's not alone. So,
yeah.
and I tell you, it's nice just sitting like the three of us. I would love to bring in Corey and Charlene to this because they are also hosts, and they've also been. Corey was just wow.
And
She
CC
was
Christine if
yeah.
she's up for it.
Let me see if Christine is available because I'll tell you, there's
Mostly because I haven't actually had any form of conversation with her directly.
yep, yep.
So I really want to meet her.
Yes. No, it's really just astounding. The I just cannot get over it. It makes
Um,
me happy.
what time is it for you, Angela?
7:30.
Okay, so it's 7:30. That means that my giveaways should be closed as of
Mm-hmm.
now. How do
Yes.
I do that?
And it's funny because for some reason I thought I had nothing going on today. So I did a panel discussion at what time was it? Noon? I think it was noon.
11.
Or 11
Yeah, it was
o'clock. Yeah.
9:30.
11. And I don't know how that one slipped my schedule, Joe. I am so sorry. You said you have one at 11, and I'm like, what? And I was that way all day. I had one at 12. I knew I had the zombie panel. That was it. I'm thinking zombies, and I think I blamed the zombies because I thought zombies and nothing else mattered in the world. So I'm sitting here talking and shooting the breeze, and just like, you have a panel discussion in 10 minutes. I do? And he's like, yeah, women in publishing. I'm in that one? And I
I'm
jumped
sad I
into it.
missed that one. That would have been fun.
Yeah, I completely, Christy Stratos put it together. And again, she is a phenomenal host. It was just a great time. And afterward,
She didn't put it together. I put it together.
you are awesome, Joe. You are an awesome
He was
host.
the host, but
Yes.
she did all the work. I did none of the work. All I did was start the thing and end the thing.
Christy was a great host. It was phenomenal. You both were. It was just wonderful. And after that panel, I had to bow out early because I had to jump over to the zombies. And we talked zombies. And then afterwards, I'm like, I'm done. I'm good. And then 20 minutes after 2, Joe's like, Matt's trying to get a hold of you. Why? Why is Matt trying to get a hold of me? And I hop over there like, yes. And he goes, you're on 20 minutes ago. So I gave away all my books. I'm like, all right, so I have like all these ebooks sitting here, and I have overstock on ebooks. Who wants them? So I started passing out ebooks, and it was wonderful. And after that, I'm like, okay, so I'm done for the evening, and I jump back over with Joe. And then Mary made a comment about the epic fantasy discussion, and I went, that sounds familiar. That sounds like something that would involve me. Let me check my schedule. And that's been my day and sure enough, I was in that one too. So, yeah. I do wish we did a nerd panel. I really wish we had done a nerd panel. Although, Joe...
That's one of the things I want to put in my survey that I'm going to give to the authors.
Yeah.
I want to know, what things did you like? What things do you want to see happen next year? What things do you want to have happen differently?
Hello, beautiful.
Hi, my loves.
Hello.
Hi, my loves. How are we?
Hello. Cyber hug, everyone.
We're
we
waiting
are...
for teacup to boil.
Oh,
Hi,
hello.
Rita. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Charlene.
Yeah.
Joe's like hiding from the huggy women.
Joe is like,
She's doing one of these.
No.
Hugs.
my huggy women. Joe wants the huggy women to hug him.
Yeah. No, we are getting together. This is opening closing ceremonies. Isn't that wonderful? We are opening up the closing ceremonies. And
I know what you were saying, though, Angela. I knew where you were going. We did end up having a nerd panel for about 40 hours.
We did. That's exactly what your panel became.
Yeah,
Joe
really.
Live was nerd. It was wonderful because we were in and out, and yeah. I'm sorry. I will never get over. Where's my sign? Did you didn't
Your
like,
Iron Man sign.
Yeah. I mean, this is great stuff here.
Yeah.
This is.
You're
so
speaking
we have
to a Batman fairy godmother. You know that, right?
Joe, boot her out, please.
I need her. She's my armor.
So this is absolutely. We need Corey here, and I messaged Cece and asked her to come in. So we're waiting to see if they'll be able to join us. But to the world, we have Joe, who hosted our 72-hour live coverage. He is the man of the weekend because he is crazy.
He's the man. Joe's the man.
We counted up a total of 7 hours sleep in 3 days.
Extraordinary. Joe.
And we have Aurelia Maria Casey, who hosted 12 panels this weekend.
Unbelievable.
So, yes. And Charlene, you hosted and partook in so much. I know that for the last month you've been bringing people in for interviews. And when did you finally wrap up your last interview?
Probably a few days just before the conference started, so I would say last week. And I was still working on someone who couldn't actually do it, but I was waiting to get another person in. So, we were open. The gates were open until the very last minute.
Yeah.
Angela, you are the one behind it all. You are the multi-armed goddess who created the whole thing and brought us all in. So, hooray, Angela!
Thank you.
And especially, you especially deserve recognition because the first year that you did this, during the actual convention was right when you were writing Broken.
Yep, I was March. I was writing Broken. April 2nd, I was in the ER.
I didn't know you yet.
Yeah.
I was getting your messages, but that was it. And I didn't know. I couldn't tell.
No one.
You were fully functional, and you pulled off this convention last year despite all of that, and that is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really weird. I spoke to my therapist. I'm on a 2-week. We just cut it back to 2-week sessions. I'm that healthy. It's a big deal. If you know therapy, it is a big deal to cut back from weekly to biweekly.
My brother's
And
still on daily, and he should be on daily for longer, but he
yeah,
won't be because
yeah,
government funding sucks.
yeah, it is, and you can really measure the healing process. And when we pulled it back to 2 weeks, and we just did this like a month ago, so I asked her. I said, I have the cyber convention on the 8th. I would like to see you on the 7th. And it's also, it's the anniversary of my breakdown, and I landed in the ER for a mental evaluation. They were talking about submitting me for to keep me into I don't know what to call it, mental ward, into the hospital, so
Um,
that they could
my
monitor
dad
monitor
worked
me.
at one of those. He was a psych
Hmm.
tech.
Yeah,
It's the ER for mental health.
mental health, yes.
I don't.
And
It has a proper name. If I
yeah,
wasn't
I can't.
tired, I would remember what it was.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a very clean, very healthy, very wonderful, healthy atmosphere to be in. But it's the best way I can explain it is it's the modern insane asylum, but it's not. That's not what it is anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but it is that. It's
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
and with
And
the profile, it's really difficult to get out of that profile.
Actually, you know what
yeah,
a good description of what that is um the part in The Order of the Phoenix where they're visiting
yes,
Mr. Weasley in the hospital and
that's
there's that
exactly
section with
it.
Neville's parents. That's what it
Yes,
is.
that is
Yes.
exactly it. And you have Loverboy going, look at how awesome I am. I don't remember who I am, but I am great. Yes, Lockhart. Yes, Gilderoy Lockhart, that area. And they decided that I was so into nesting and such a shut-in that it would be more traumatic for me to come out of my nest. So they sent me back home so I could go back into my hole.
Wow.
And talk about your writer's cave. I had a literal writer's cave. So that's where I was on April 2nd, a week before the cyber convention last year. And no, I did not. At that point, it was not public, not yet. I would not be publishing Broken until September 11th.
So
And no, it was. I made
I
a
didn't
point of
learn
being
any of
sure.
this until I interviewed you for Dolor and Shadow for the book club.
Did your brain explode? It is shocking. I didn't really. I had one email today. It was wonderful. So I opened up my Goodreads, and this lady is there, and she's like, I just saw this, and I'm absolutely wowed over the Brain to Books convention, and I'm here. Where do I do? Where do I go? And I sent her to John, like, this is, if you really want to jump right in, this is where you go. I get an email from her like 5 minutes later. So I just made the connection. I realized who you are. I read Broken, and I left you a review like a year ago. I know who you are. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. She's like, she did not put two and two together that I am Broken and Brain of Books. I do keep them separate. I really do. And yeah, I do absolutely try and keep them separate, which is weird. I don't know why I do that. I wish I need to talk to Heidi to see if that's a good thing or bad.
I think I think at least from what I've heard you talk about in the past, you're keeping it separate because you don't want authors cluttering up your readers. Which
That's
makes sense.
right. I knew I had a
And
reason.
that makes sense, but at the same time, you will have authors who are also readers.
Yes, yes.
And the way that the guys at the self-publishing podcast do this is they have their smarter artist people who are their authors.
Hmm.
And then they have a different reader group for every genre that they do because they do complicated things. But they have their reader lists and they'll let you know, hey, by the way, and it's an aside.
Yeah, yeah,
If this is also interesting to you, then go here. If not,
yeah.
ignore this part of this email.
I have been trying to figure out how to. When I started, I started Brain to Books out before I started AngelaBChrysler.com. And I launched Brain to Books, and I was like, okay, so we're going to do this, and of course I have to have one over here. So I was toggling two websites at the same time in October of 2014, and I realized they were pretty much mirroring each other, and that was bothering me. And about 6 months in, I realized my readers are getting cluttered with how to be a writer. And that's not okay. That's never okay. So
Yeah.
I pulled all the writing and Brain to Books out of Angela B. Chrysler, placed it on Brain to Books, and turned it into a reader website and a writer website.
Yeah, that's
And
why I have Abyssinian Books and AM Casey.
Yes.
And I'll do the philosophical why is reading important on the AM Casey blog.
Yeah.
But I'll
And
do
it is
the other
crossing
stuff.
over.
It is crossing over a little bit, but
Yeah.
as a reader, those are the things I think about as a reader.
Mhm.
So I keep it on that side because it's more philosophical.
Yeah.
It's not how to write, it's why do we read?
Yeah. And what I did, I love this. I contacted my cover artist. He's the guy who, the company that did this. Just gorgeous. Love what he did. And I said, you know what? I need a business card and a logo. Could you design me something? And he did. And I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab it because I decided to move it over there from my desk. I'll be right back. Okay, so I asked him to design me, please, a business card and a logo. And I didn't say anything. I just said Raven, just Raven. And he said, I'll take care of it. And this is what he did.
Beautiful.
And my initials are ABC, which is just, as an author, that really works out for marketing. My middle name is Beth. And I love the ravens, and there's so much metaphorical meaning in the ravens in Dull Learned Shadow. So he absolutely put the raven in there on my name, and because it's ABC, at one point about 2 months ago, I went, you know what? There's no reason why I can't use that for both Angela B. Chrysler and Brain to Books. So I did. I absolutely use the same logo for both companies, and I have a motto that's different for each, but there's the front of my business card.
Nice.
And I just absolutely love his work. Absolutely love what he does. So Indigo Forest Designs. I'm pushing his work out there. I love what he does. Beautiful stuff. So, and I'm going to go ahead and plug away at some names here. C.L. Schneider, of course, is phenomenal. To just huge fantasy what she does. She's working on an urban fantasy now, but her books are just beautiful. Absolutely deep. And you said Ian Troy was her character, Joe, and he won the last tournament that was held.
He was a quarterfinalist this time.
Yeah, no, he beautiful character, and Adam Drace is another author who is just wonderful, wonderful young adult author. Just take a look, Adam Drace. This man is amazing. I'm in the Slush Spring with him, which is my virtual writers group that all takes place on a virtual boat, the HMS Slush Spring. And I would sit there and, so how are you, Adam? And we would get these blasts. Can't Talk Now, signing books at a convention. He did, I think, 5 signing conventions back to back to back to back, and then jumped on for the cyber convention. So he's just absolutely take a look at Adam's books. And then we have William Matthew Harrell, who is a horror author. His face is enough to make you scream when you see him, and you'll find out why, and he knows it. He is an absolutely one. He cannot be here right now because it is England where he is, and it is very, very late. So he's already tied up for the night. Yeah. But William Matthew Harris, the other author, just wonderful, wonderful group. Stanislava de Kohut, and and of course we have CC Rogers who put the maps together. She came to me. She's just phenomenal.
I'm
and
so
I don't
happy
think,
for those maps.
Like, seriously, we're going to talk about CC Rogers. Her name is Christina. I cannot remember which, and I'm sorry. But she is just. She came to me with a suggestion. Hey, would you mind if I kind of put hashtags in on this and clean it up? And I said, yeah, do whatever. Yeah, have fun. And she came back and she said, okay, I've got it together. Take a look. And I absolutely trusted her, and I'm like, yeah, I will take a look in a minute, but, thank you very much, great job. About 2 days later, I was able to finally jump on and see what she did, and, oh, wow, like, just phenomenal. If you have not seen it yet, definitely stop to take a look in at her map.
It was so cool how she had the word cloud, and each genre had a font that was relevant to the genre, and like the size had to do with how many booths were represented, and that was just so cool.
I had so many people, and I was one of them at first, who thought that cloud booth was just a pretty header. And they were hyperlinked. It was just stunning. And it was funny because we went in, and we are getting calls. Jin is inviting me to a call. I don't think he's got. Jin is awake. Let's bring Jin in, Joe.
Yes.
Hi, Mom.
Again,
I think they're in to say goodnight, so I'm going to go ahead and say goodnight to my children. I'll be right back.
Okay. Ooh, I should check on my tea and make sure it's not boiling away.
Okay, I'm going to take a little break and I'll be right back.
No, but then Joe is all alone.
Fine, go do what you're
Are
doing.
you sure?
I can entertain the
No,
masses.
Joe is Jin is coming right on. He needs the link. He's jumping in right here in a minute.
Wait. Does it have the
Go
water?
do what you gotta do, Aurelia.
Thank you.
Fine.
My daddy just brought me my tea.
Oh, nice.
That's so nice of him. I'm happy. All right, I have to put the tea bags in and like steep it. But, how are you holding up, Joe?
I'm doing okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm good. What's one more hour or one more half hour? I'm good.
I have never had that ability. I was it was a disaster for everybody around me if I got less than 4 hours of sleep.
All right, let me get Jin in here because he's calling me. Hang on.
I'm attempting to download these entries, and I think I'm gonna have to like. I don't know why it's not downloading. It's like my internet is sad or something.
Hello.
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 Hi, everyone. Angela, did you get my picture of the cherry blossoms?
I think she went to
Night to her kids, I think, right?
yeah.
I woke up about 40 minutes ago, and I took my son to school. I can sadly say that I can only be on for at the most an hour and a half before I
Hopefully
get
you won't be on that long.
Yeah, I think we're all fading fast here, Jen. We're all in the same lotus pod, ready to fold up and go back for another season. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh,
This is the closing ceremonies, and I'm hoping we close.
yeah.
It's been
I
on
want
for so long.
I want to say thank you to everyone. Uh, it was a wonderful experience, and I got emails from some people, so I will be putting them on my author spotlight. I just gotta let my brain recover a little bit before I start planning all that out.
We're all with you.
Yeah.
True for all of us.
No, it's just one of those things. I was very, very happy to participate in this. Next year, I hope to participate even more. And I do hope to, and I probably will be poking at you guys throughout the year, saying hello and trying to do cross things.
Please do.
Well, Jin, I think I've decided I'm gonna do something like every other week or something, maybe. Maybe do like a little like the cocktail hour we had last night kind of thing on a Friday night or something. So.
Well, your Fridays are my Saturdays, so I can drink.
Well, I'll have a topic, we'll have discussions, so it's not.
Yeah, I'm
all
thinking
the
of
time,
doing a couple
but
things too beyond what I already do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll make sure that the information for all of that goes to the right people, but I have to talk to
Awesome.
Corey still. I know
But-
Charlene and Angela and I are going to do a monthly domestic violence related
I'm so excited.
conversation series.
Really.
I want to have I want the three of us to be the thread that keeps it the same, but I want to have it be a Google Hangout where there's lots of people.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And and I'll put it up on, we'll do it live on Google Hangouts, and we'll figure out a time that works for all of us that's on a weekend where people can actually participate.
Yeah, I think a Friday night or Friday afternoon's a good time, because then the people who are in like Israel and
I
Japan
think a
and all those
Saturday
people.
is almost better though, because if it's a Saturday, then it's a Sunday for the people who are in Japan
That's true.
and New Zealand and
Yeah.
Australia, and it's the Friday night for the people who are east.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um,
What I was thinking about this morning is, this coming May, I have what's called Golden Week here, which is like a 1 week holiday, um, which no one works except for the main utilities. And during the beginning of that, I have some work that I have to do here. My wife and my son head up to their grandma's house earlier than me. And what I'm thinking is during that time, I want to have a panel discussion. If I need to figure out how to get a hold of you guys, because you guys have done this before, so you guys can help me set it up.
So
And the panel discussion that I want to have is something called Breaking Barriers, Women in Fantasy, Men in Romance.
Hey.
So I will be emailing that this week to Angela and to Joe, and whoever else wants an email can CC them or email me directly. At my email is kalamadea1234 Kalamadea. And if you know that name, then you know your fantasy. I'll say that. And that being said, it will be an open panel, so if you want to participate in it, feel free. The reason is because I feel, and I felt this when, the more that I heard it this weekend, that I'm the only openly male doing romance, and I want to start breaking that stereotype.
I think
And I
there
want.
are a lot of authors who are men who write romance. They just didn't know about this convention.
Oh yeah.
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 We'll see.
And
We'll
there
find them.
are some who are traditionally published who, like Nicholas Sparks, who do not write under pen names.
Yeah, and see that's something that I want to get out there more, because if we don't bring light to it, and great female fantasy writers who basically get
I have
cast
a whole
aside because they're
library.
female. Yeah.
I need to. You're motivating me to actually document my library, because I didn't realize until I started researching publishing.
Mm.
And I came across, the first place I go to find out how to publish is I look for the authors that
Yeah.
I value the most, and there are maybe 3 of them that I thought to go look for what they were doing.
Yeah.
And of those 3, they all said that they wrote what they wrote because of the lack of women in fantasy, the lack of that, and I thought that they were the exception. I thought that their experience had been the same as my experience. So then I went and I looked at my bookshelf, only to discover that all of these books that I loved were written by women, and I hadn't paid attention.
So a lot of women writing fantasy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of women writing fantasy, but for some reason, I'm the only person who reads what they write.
Well, see,
I don't know.
see,
I'm so confused about this. This is something
Stepped off the cliff, honey. That doesn't make any sense
Confusing to me.
whatsoever.
see, and what I don't understand is, being a male who writes romance, that movie that came out with Nicholson, Jack Nicholas, back, what was it called? Oh, great! Now the name just slipped my mind as soon as I thought it up.
As good as it gets.
Yes, As Good as It Gets, where he's a romance writer,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they portrayed it as this hateful person, and he played the character beautifully. I love the movie, but that whole idea, he was a man writing romance, and we still have this idea that men can't, and I think as a society, this idea that we can label something that way and that's the way it's supposed to be, and we get comfortable with it, is something that we need to shed light on, I think. Oh, and Angela, I did get your email, and I wanted to ask if you got my email with the cherry blossoms.
Oh, I did not. One moment, I must check.
Or did I send it to the
I
wrong
am
person?
such a gardening nut. It is crazy. Like I could do a whole thing just on gardening. It is.
I might have sent it to the wrong Angela then. I sent it to an Angela. And as far as I know, you're the only Angela that I have
Oh,
in my
hold on. And
email.
maybe on my Gmail account, I do have two. So hold on a moment. I think I did see something coming from you on that. So one moment. I have got to pick up that cat book of yours, by the way, Jen. It looked. I love cats. And okay, I collect kids' books, and we're going to talk about books in my past here in just a moment. I'm telling everybody that the final round of Cover Wars is here. We will be selecting the.
I voted.
Yay! I love the colors. The covers are just stunning. Let me see here. No, I did not see it. You sent it to another Angela. That'll be interesting.
Well, I have no idea which Angela I sent it to then.
Someone's getting
Um,
pictures of cherry blossoms and wondering why. They're about to write haiku about the whole situation. I received cherry blossoms in email.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Now, there's a haiku right there. I just gave you one right there.
well,
Oh yeah, I did. I had the actual syllables.
Oh, that's
you should
beautiful.
have it now, Angela.
All
You
right.
should have it now.
Yes. Well,
And
hold on. I saw Jen's email from Joan. Okay. Yeah. I think.
and I will share with everyone else so they can see what I just sent you.
Yes.
And it was not a naked picture of me.
But I hope not.
Thank goodness, please, no. Cherry blossoms,
I
hooray!
love cherry blossoms.
How gorgeous.
If I get it close enough, I think you can see the pink.
Beautiful.
This is
Oh.
in my neighbor's yard, by the way.
Just
And
beautiful.
then if I look towards the river on the other side of my house,
Mhm.
there's a line of cherry trees.
All
It's
right.
yeah.
This is just beautiful. I just love this. Okay, Jin,
Yeah.
please talk to me about cat cafes.
Cat's Cafe.
Mhm.
Here in Japan.
Yes.
There are
Um,
some
it's
starting to
actually
percolate in the US too.
it's actually not what you think it is. Cat's Cafe is actually just almost like a yuppie bar
Yeah.
for coffee drinkers and like
Yeah.
that. What you're actually trying to find is a pet cafe, which are very popular here
Yeah.
for dogs or cats or and even birds, where people will go and this is Asian in nature, where they used to have birdhouse tea houses where you took your little bird in and everything, and it's expanded to cats and dogs. And what's really interesting, and I have no idea why. I love my cat. I do. I love both of my cats very much, but I would never spend $50, $60 on a piece of cat food that looks like a little cake. um, I just can't do it. Um, but that's the society that's here. You get these people that, and I know that we have them in the States too. These people that just dump money into getting their pets to look a certain way or be a certain way. And here, these little cafes are out in the major cities, and one of the wonderful things about it is because people love their pets so much. One of the things that I tend to promote when I talk to people about pets. My cats were given to me; they were strays that I picked up. Both of them were. That's why my cat Linux has a bent tail, but they were both strays given to me. And the sad thing is, there is a huge, and I mean ungodly huge, pet milk kind of life here too.
Yeah.
Uh, and there are people that, and my wife's friends, one of them, who actively protest um, this whole mentality of having meals for their pets. And it's sad because these pets are coming from mills, but you see them at the store, for 12, 13, 1,400 bucks, $5,000, and this is at a store that's like Walgreens,
Yeah.
right? And people buy them. While on the other hand, you have people on our side of the fence who say, look, there's pet shelters, go get it there. There's this, go get it there. You don't have to buy it from pet mills, and they're just as good. And um, my boss, who's very very kind, she lost her cat last year for old age, and she had that cat for ages, and she just lost it. She picked up two new cats. One of them ended up running away, but she picked up two new cats, and she picked them up at a pet shelter. She's like me. We refuse to get pets from these pet mills. Um, so this whole idea of Cats Cafe, I think it's a misnomer because what we think, and there's a huge ideology here that goes back to the terminology of the 50s. So Cats Cafe, they're thinking more hip hop. I'm hip, like I'm a hip cat kind of thing. And there's like my ex-wife's father he ran a pizza restaurant and he called it Pizza Cruise, and he called it cruise as in we're a crew like a gang, thinking what's called what is that West Side Story, like that kind of ideology versus what it should have been. But there's this whole, in a way, I call it, and my wife agrees with me. They're like stuck in a certain time frame here. You see it in the fashion. They're either a decade behind or 2 decades behind, or they're a couple years ahead, and they're mixing and matching, and it's a unique fashion. You'll never find it anywhere else. You know, people dressing in pajamas that look like animals and going out onto the street. That's their regular daily wear, and it's
Sounds
fine.
like Los Angeles, Jin.
I used to live there, and it's
I love
actually a
Los
little bit
Angeles.
worse.
People dress in animal costumes. I don't get it, but there you have it. I have to go to bed because my brain is gone somewhere. I have to go find it, I think, through the dream realm. But thank you all so much for this weekend. It was just splendid.
Oh,
And
wonderful,
I
wonderful.
appreciated meeting
Thank
you
you
all.
for participating in everything.
Oh, my
Thank you
great love.
so much.
It was so much fun. So take care, be well, and we'll talk soon. Yes?
Yeah,
Yes,
when you recover,
absolutely.
send us an email.
Thank you. I will.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, and some wonderful news. I got a message from my friend this morning. He's my friend that lives in the States still. His name is Brian, who I named my son after. He sent me an email that says, I just wanted to let you know that I will be writing a review for your book. I just have to read it first, which made me so happy that he wasn't just going to write me a review, that he was going to read my work.
That's nice.
So I really, really enjoyed that part of it. And it's really wonderful, to hear that because since I started my writing career, I have yet to find anyone like that would actually read my work and write a review. And now that my friend actually said, "Well, look, I'm going to read your book and write a review," we've ordered the hard copies, and that just makes me very happy.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he will enjoy it. He's a prolific writer. He's the one that got me into the Magic the Gathering books, which I truly love. Magic the Gathering books. They're a fantasy into their own,
They
and
are.
I would recommend them for anybody's reading in fantasy, because they have that little bit of almost Dragonlance taste, but not a copy of it.
Yeah.
So if you like fantasy, you'll love those books. Um, I don't want to overtalk other people who want to talk. I think
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
I do have something to read.
because I'll get lost. I'll keep talking.
I'm busy crunching data for the giveaways, so please talk.
Yeah. I'll
Yes,
keep.
we will be announcing those. Yes, and just a reminder out to all of our authors: if you submitted a giveaway, I did not commit anyone to a format. So if you, and I made this very clear to everybody in the giveaways, in the panels where you can enter, that the titles are there, but some authors are presenting their books via audio, ebook, PDF, or Smashwords, where you're going to need a Smashwords account. Kobo, same thing. And some are offering paperbacks, but they are only shipping within the country where they have residency. So we have some UK authors only shipping paperbacks to UK residents. I am a US author who is only shipping to the US. And while we have a few others who are willing to ship internationally. So when you when a reader, if you are a reader and you are the winner, you are going to get your you are going to be notified. But it is the author who gets to choose which format you are going to receive. And in some cases, your book may not be available in your area. So that is also something you need to take into account. Please allow 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. And of course, and this is one of my favorite things to point out, this has nothing to do with Goodreads. This is just their own thing that we all piled our books together to donate and are giving away. Authors, it is your responsibility. Once we have announced the winners, I will be blasting out a message privately through the backstage. You'll receive a name of the winners, and you will be able to get their contact information privately. Please contact the winners. 308 authors. Contacting 6 people is easier than 6 people tracking down 308 authors. So,
I would like. I just need to know which emails to gift it through Amazon, and that's fine.
Yeah, I'm probably going to set up a private page and then make that link, take that link and then message it out.
Actually, what I have, I have the information for every person who put a book in a spreadsheet with the link to their Goodreads author page. So what I'll be doing is I will be taking, I will email the winner of each of these and let them know that they won beyond just announcing it on here. And I'll let them know that, you know, they might need to be ready to tell someone their address. Maybe some authors have both EPUB and Mobi, and you know they'll need to be ready with that information, and I'll let them know that I will be private messaging their email to the authors so that the authors can contact that individual directly.
Yeah. And something that you might want to let them know is if they have an Amazon account but they can't get the book, they can't gift the book in that country, what they can do is when you go to your Amazon KDP account and you go to edit details, you can download a preview of the book. That in itself is a Mobi, and you can send that to people, and it is the book.
Yeah, I have that here. Whenever I have my books formatted, my beautiful editor, and I'm throwing her name out there, Mia Darian. She is a phenomenal editor. She also formats my books for me, and she always provides me with a PDF, a Mobi, and a EPUB copy. So whenever anyone wins one of my ebooks, I literally pass that copy out to them, as opposed to gifting through Amazon, because the author is charged for gifting through Amazon. I've heard they are reimbursed, but I've also heard from authors that that's not the case. I do not know the math skills of the authors who claim this, so I don't know.
You're reimbursed, but you're only reimbursed your 70% as if you bought the book, or depending on how you bought the book. You're also only reimbursed if the book is claimed, so if the gift is claimed. I have no idea if they charge you when the book is not claimed, and if they keep the money and then they just don't reimburse you because it was never claimed. I gift books, I think once a week. I've been gifting a book to somebody who said, I'll do a review for you. And out of that, I've gotten, I think, 4 people who accepted the book. And I saw the numbers that, you know, I got my 70% versus getting the full reimbursement. So you will not get the full reimbursement. That is something you should know.
Okay. Welcome, Corey. Hello.
Hi, how are you? Can you guys hear me?
Very well. Yes.
Awesome.
We are bringing everybody together, our hosts. We have Aurelia DeCasey, of course, who did our panel discussions. We have Joe, who did our 72-hour live coverage. And we just had Charlene come on for a moment, who did author interviews right up until a few days prior to the convention. There is me. And then we have Jin from Japan. And Jin he has been, I'm going to call him the assistant Joe, because he has been on constantly, almost constantly, as much as he can this weekend. keeping Joe busy and just a wonderful, wonderful brain to pick. I love talking to Jen. Jen, have you had the honor, of speaking to Corey DeMiller?
I spoke to her, and I'm gonna be trying to get on her show at one point in this. When I recover, I'm gonna be trying to get on her show. Um,
Did you happen to send me an email by chance, Jen?
Not yet. Last
Okay.
night when I came back home, I actually jumped right on, and we went for an hour. Then I took a bath, and then we went until I passed out in the morning. So I'm very, very sorry I did not get a chance.
No. I received an email and it was from somebody from like some other place, and I'm looking at this going, I don't know. It seemed a little odd, and I didn't want to open it. I was a little nervous. So now I know it's not for you. I'll just delete it.
No, my email is it's a long email, and it'll say jin@gmail.com.
Okay.
I don't send attachments to open unless I get asked to, so it'll be just text. That being said, last night we were talking with Joe, and I got an email from this novelfestival.com or something like that, and it was a spam thing, right?
Yep.
And I responded to them in kind and said, you said this, this, and this, and now I went to your site and you're charging me, and they're charging $75 for a few chapters and $175 for a novel, and get some feedback. And I said, how dare you charge me for this, stuff like that. And then they sent me another email. We're sorry, it was a misunderstanding. If you still want to do the interview, we'll send you the questions promptly. Please tell us. And I asked for the questions. I said, sure, I'll do an interview. I'm sorry, misunderstandings happen. And guess what? The questions have yet to appear.
Not surprising.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Corey, I must ask, did you have a certain moment during the convention that was memorable or something that you particularly enjoyed? How was your convention?
I'm really tired.
How many
and I
interviews
think
did
that's
you
Joe's fault.
Yeah.
I think it's Joe's fault because he made me stay up till 2:30 in the morning. No, I had a great time.
I'm fine with that.
No, it was awesome. The only glitch, the two glitches that I know of. One, I'm going to have to reschedule interviews with some people because Blab didn't record some of the interviews, so I'm kind of like about that. But I'm going to take care of that this week for most of those people, so that'll be cool. And then, the whole people not understanding how to exactly get there, so I need to fix that. But I think that'll resolve because Blab won't be in beta next time. Yeah. But as far as things going well and what I really liked, I loved meeting Charlene. I just think she's awesome. I thought that was great. And talking with her, I had a great chat with her, and that was one of the ones that unfortunately did not record. So, bummer, I'm going to have to talk to her again.
Yeah, I love her. Actually, you, and I'm like, you have got to meet Charlene. You
that
too.
That happened to me when Charlene first interviewed me for her radio show. It didn't record, and that was perfectly okay.
Yeah.
This happened to all of us.
Yeah, I think we all had moments. Yeah.
So that was
I walked away from this whole thing going, I really need to start a podcast. That was me. So that was my takeaway from all this. Because Corey,
I will teach you how to do that. It's very simple.
It's so much fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It really is.
And I can't remember. I'm really having problem crossing my peoples. So help me out here. Aurelia proposed with
I
one
proposed
of the
two things, and Corey, one of these things involves you, and I don't know if you want me to talk to you about it live in public, or if you want me to talk to you off the air first.
I'll take the blame if she says no. Put her on the spot.
Go ahead.
So the two things that I came away with, and I came away with these on basically on the first 2 days of the panels, was that the multiculturalism in fiction and the domestic violence awareness panels, they really need to be ongoing conversations.
Yeah.
Not one time a year. And so my idea was to ask you to co-host the multiculturalism one and do a once a month hangout or blab open conversation and I
Mm-hmm.
can do the recording and put it up on iTunes very easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then to do the same thing with Angela and Charlene for the domestic violence awareness, and have it be a place where we would be the hosts, but it would be a conversation with lots of other people coming on, um,
Mm-hmm.
as
That
a way
could be
to
a lot of
provide that
fun.
ongoing thing.
Yeah, that could be fun. I have a few people who were on Back Porch Writer already because of Multicultural Children's Book Day. It's something that happens every year,
Hmm.
and so I've got some connections with some people who have created that actually. And then there's a few people I know who are involved in We Need Diverse Books, that movement. So there's a couple people I could reach out to say, hey, would you be willing to participate, or could you participate, or that sort of thing. And it would be fun.
I
An
have only
Yay!
ongoing
one
dialogue
thing.
helps.
Yay.
Yeah.
I will have
And
only one
I'm
thing
happy that
to
people like my idea.
say.
I was worried
uh,
you were gonna be too busy and be like, no, I don't have
Oh,
time.
no,
But
I'm busy. Don't get me wrong, but I mean
I know you're busy. That's
it's
why
one
I
of
was
those
worried.
things that I think it'd be
Yeah.
cool. It just the time. It just depends what time, what day, what
Yeah.
time.
We would pick a time and a day that
That
would
you'd want
work
to do
for
it.
us. Yeah.
and
You know,
Corey, I just went on
but that's it.
to Back Porch Writer and I sent a message through your Q&A, just really
Hmm.
quickly, and I'm about to sign up to your
Okay,
newsletter,
Mhm.
if I can find that
awesome.
link.
I don't send anything, but thank you.
Yeah,
I'm really lazy about the newsletter.
yeah,
That is on my to-do list. I will tell you right now. The Back Porch Writer newsletter is one of those. Oh, I need to do this, but I haven't done it. I haven't successfully completed it with my author stuff yet. So it's like,
You know what that is? You
so
say the
it's
back
on my
porch
list.
writer. The back porch
we
writer
had a good
newsletter
talk
will
about
be
newsletters
excellent.
last night.
I
Mhm.
need
Yes,
somebody else to
morning.
do the newsletter for me.
I know a
I
lot
need to
about
hire that
newsletters,
out.
but I haven't had time to get. I have so much information in my head and I can't get it out.
I
I
have
just need
a
someone to do
constant,
it. I've got the information.
you
I've
know.
got the stuff. It's not a high enough priority for me to go, I think I'll do that today, because
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
prioritize it at the top. I will say this, I came away from this too saying, you know what, I really like Blab, and I might have to do a few Back Porch Writer shows on Blab because it was so
Mm.
much fun to do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Mm.
don't just do it as the audio, but
Mhm.
offer people the option to do it
Yeah.
that way too.
Yeah.
So
Now, how
I'm
do
I
you feel
might
about
be doing
Google
that.
Plus? Were you able between the two platforms?
The
How are
Hangouts,
you?
the, I haven't done the Hangouts as much. I like Blab partly because I don't know how much control you have with Hangouts. Um, but Blab, you have a lot of control, and I'll give you an example. This morning I was talking with the two sisters from Israel,
Yeah.
I
and
missed them again.
we were having a lovely conversation. Hold on, I have to turn off a timer. I'm making dinner. Hold on.
I wish I had spoken to those ladies. I was in touch with them for so long, and then it got to a point where I'm like, okay, I have to stop talking Israel, as gorgeous as that country is, because my aunt and my cousins all live in Israel, and we really hit it off. We were swapping stories and food recipes, and then I got over to
Sorry.
convention, and I'm like, I can't talk Israel anymore, and I haven't spoken to them since, and I was really looking forward to meeting them. So I'm
I,
sad.
I found it very fun that they had a map of the United States behind them.
Yeah.
And they do. No, that is a thing. It's really, and
Yeah.
it's funny because my grandparents went
No,
to Israel
no,
to meet my aunt there with
no.
to see where she lived, and they had a map behind. She had a map there, and they got back, and suddenly there's a map, and they have put tax on all the places they've been. And we asked about it, and she's like, "Oh, we got the idea from Kim, who lives in Israel." And we're like, "Oh," and it is something they do. It's interesting.
Yeah.
They
I
were
I
very
really
fun.
liked that they were like you can tell immediately they were sisters the way they were behaving with
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
other.
And they were just like that when I interviewed them today. Okay, so here's what I know I can do on Blab that I don't know if I can do on Google Hangouts. So we were having our conversation, and people can lurk, and people can just kind of watch, and people can come into the chat. They can come in, they can do the chat room. They can come in to the virtual table. All very cool. Sometimes it can be a little, I don't know, unsettling maybe to bring somebody in because you don't know who you're bringing in when you let them
Yeah.
come to the table. And somebody asked to come in, so I let this person come in, and he turned out to be a really nasty person just super nasty, and I had to boot him out, and then booted him completely out of the Blab. But that's what I can do, is I can delete all the comments that they make in the chat, and then I can completely ban them from the room. And I had to do that to 2 people. And this is the first time this ever happened since I've been doing Blab. But
Yeah.
that's something I know I can do in Blab, and I don't know if I can do that in the Google Hangout.
You can definitely boot them out of the video chat part.
And you could also.
And once you boot them out, they can't come back in. If you want them back in, like if you do it by accident, you have to make a new video chat. I don't know about the comments.
And if they're viewing it on YouTube and they're commenting in the chat room, if it's spam, they delete it immediately, and you can delete anything in the chat room.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really tried the Google Hangouts much.
What it sounds like, listening to both sides of the story here, what it sounds like is that for Hangouts and through YouTube, you have to do a little bit of extra work, while on Blab, you might have the function all there in front of you, making it easier. So
that part's definitely easier. I think it's hard. For example, the sisters, Kate and Claire. Claire had a hard time, and this has been a pretty consistent issue so far with Blab, coming into that platform and trying to figure out how to do your headset stuff. It messes up. So if it's not, you have to change your settings, but then you have to actually go out, refresh, come back in for it to take. And that, I know it's different when you go over to Google Hangout, you have to do something different. And then when you go to another platform, you have to do something different. So that one trips people up. I know it tripped me up when I was first starting doing Blab with Hardy. So that's one of the weird quirks that I hope doesn't keep happening when it's out of beta. But as far as I like the platform, because one of the things I like, and I don't know about Google Hangouts if they do this. So for the Blabs, I get, when it works properly, I get a video, but I also get separate audio. So I can take the audio and put that in as a podcast over on Libsyn if I wanted to, stripped of the video. And I like that feature. I think that's pretty cool. So I don't know, does Google Hangout do that?
No.
I don't think so.
No, it just posts a YouTube video. It's already.
What I do is I have a template file in Adobe Premiere, because I have Creative Cloud, because I do a lot of graphic design and I use InDesign to do my own interior print formatting. And so I have Adobe Premiere. And so I'm editing it as if it were a video, but I'm saving it as audio. And that lets me put in an intro and an outro for the audio version that gives people some of the information that they would already know.
Well, tell me this.
In the context of a video.
Are you familiar with Audacity, Aurelia?
Yeah, I use Audacity as well.
Okay.
I use Audacity
so I use Audacity
to do raw
for my
audio recordings, and then I'll piece them together in Premiere.
Yeah, you can also use GIMP.
Found something. Yeah, I have GIMP, but I found something that allows me to bring video into Audacity and just do the audio, essentially. So I can strip audio from video in Audacity. And I did that a week or so ago. I found something that I could do that. Because it used to be Audacity, I guess you could do all that, but then it went away. But now there was this, it's not a plug-in, but some sort of thing that I needed to make that still happen, where I could just strip it.
The other way to do it was when they removed that function, and I really was upset when they removed that function from Audacity because it's such a useful tool. When they removed that function, what I used to do is I used to go into GIMP to do the video and have it playing in the background and have Audacity catching it, and then strip the audio completely from the video, and it's just extra steps that I had to do when I was doing that. So, but now it's just.
I didn't know I could use GIMP that way. I didn't know I could use GIMP for video.
Yeah.
I thought it was just image stuff. I've got to look at that more now then. I had no idea. Okay.
But it's just something, it's the way you do it too. It's got to be, it's harder to learn just because it's got all these little extra quirks in there, and you might have to download some extra stuff for GIMP. I haven't touched video in a year and a half, so that's the last time that I was working with it. Now I just use GIMP for my covers. But yeah, you can. It's just the stripping of the audio I don't think you can do, and that's why I had Audacity picking it up on the background. So.
Well, I have to explore GIMP more then.
I use Adobe.
Yeah, I don't want to learn that.
I started with Adobe. I started with Adobe, everyone. Back in when it first came out, I was on the beta testing when it first came out in the 90s, and I loved it up until they started charging an arm and a leg and your firstborn for it.
Yeah.
Then, and the same thing with web design. I used Dreamweaver for the longest time until it got to the point where it was just ridiculous pricing. It got up to I think $1,000 per suite, and then they went on to the monthly payments of something like $20 a month to be able to use it. I was just like, that's too much. For
See, that's
software
a
that's so
difference
great.
in perspective because I have 5 businesses and I need to use those programs for all of those businesses. So when I divide that monthly cost
Oh no, that
per
makes
business,
sense.
it
Oh,
makes
of
absolute
course,
sense because it's
Yeah, that makes
easier.
sense.
The
of
user
course.
interface to me makes it worth it, and I have all of that. So
Well, see, and I think that's the difference in how we grew up, because when I grew up on hard HTML and on hard programming. So for me, Dreamweaver was a luxury. When I did my websites, when I used to do a lot of website design, I preferred hard coding, and I still do. I did my current job's company's website. I did it all in hard coding, and I used Dreamweaver. I downloaded the free sample copy to do the cleanup only. So
What do you mean by
yeah, well,
hard
I
coding? Like
I
it was
actually had
difficult,
to
or
hard
what?
code
no,
for
like
my
hard
engineering
coding.
degrees,
What I
and
mean by hard. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I had to hard code things for my engineering classes, and I hated it. Not because of what I could do,
Yeah,
but because I am a visual person, and finding the semicolon
yeah.
or figuring out why something's not working, like my brain doesn't work in that logical way at all.
No, see, and
And so I
I'm
get
the complete
very
opposite.
frustrated when I
I'm the
have to.
complete opposite. And to answer Corey's question, hard coding is when you have nothing on the screen except the code, and you're just typing in the code to where everything should be.
Oh, I
Go
don't
ahead.
like that.
Sorry, Joe.
Angela wants to read some reviews.
Okay.
I was just browsing the events. He's like, okay. I was just browsing the events and starting to post this hangout out around so everyone can jump in and boost an audience and we'll get lots of loving. So I opened up the takeover event. I was supposed to fill in and I had so much going on and I was so tired. I'm like, you know what? You guys can do whatever you want with this hour. So I gave up my hours to the authors and said, open hour. If you want to post, jump in, have fun. And that also allowed authors who came in late to the convention, they were able to take time out and jump in. So that was just wonderful how it turned out. So I have here Ash Crafton. Check out her books. She asked in the Takeover and Book Expo for Facebook event, Brain to Book Cyber Convention. For those of you attending the Goodreads Brain to Book Cyber Convention, what's been your favorite part? And we have just so many comments, and I just wanted to read through them all. Anita Stewart, and every one of these is an author, so by all means, please check out their works. Anita Stewart, she wrote, the panels were fun, and the live feed was a hoot. So thank you, Anita. We have from Sean Nadeau-Wood, popped in over there from time to time, but only under some author links. Not sure how the event worked on Goodreads, but it's big. Yeah, it is big. A lot of people got lost, and a lot of people found ways around. It was just exciting. And Anita did say that the convention site is much easier on Goodreads when you use the map, and he did explain that Ash Crafton came in and said that he agreed that the map is extremely helpful, and it keeps one from getting too lost. So, and he did say that he didn't see the map, and again, it was just such a large event. Ash said that he saw a lot of great author booths, too, and what a creative community. And Ash pointed out Anita has one on her booth as far as a map goes, and they passed that around. And then Missy said she's loving meeting new authors. And Anila Saeed wrote, love the whole thing. As someone else said, it felt like a real convention in a lot of ways. Oh, good, because I've never been to a convention.
Last year felt like a real convention, too.
Oh, that's good. I'm guessing.
In my opinion.
No, that's great. Like I said, I've heard what they were like, and I did what I could to pull them together.
I've never actually been to a real convention though, so.
From what I've heard, they're very hectic, busy, and you do a lot of walking. That's what I know.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's chaotic.
Yeah. How many conventions have you been to, Joe?
Probably close to half a dozen, maybe.
Okay. How does it feel for you regarding convention feel?
I liked it better. Even though I was stuck to this chair for 3 days, I still liked it better.
I am curious. What did you like better?
Well, I like the fact that I'm going to go back and look at everything else.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch on Corey's Blab
Things aren't
because I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch all the panels. I watched some of it. I'm gonna watch them all in entirety.
I gave you the rest of them if you want to put them up on your live feed after this for anyone who missed them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run all of them. I'm gonna run all of them tonight. So every single panel that happened this weekend, I'm gonna run through.
That's epic. And I'm probably gonna put it on Brain to Books and put it through a.
They'll be on my YouTube channel. So if you were in a panel and you want to. If you were in a panel, you should have gotten the link somewhere like last week sometime with like the things you needed to put it on your website. But if you can't find it, you should go to my YouTube channel because I'm putting a playlist together and all of those will be right there, so it should be very easy to find.
Yeah, I was on the romance panel, and when I needed to share it, I just went straight to Aurelia's channel and went to her videos, and there it was.
So yeah, I spent a lot of time jumping between.
Jean, do you know what my YouTube channel URL is? Because I don't.
I can send it to you. I know I have it.
No, but if you can read it out, then it makes it easier for people to find it.
Well, give me a second. The way that I found you, I just typed in Aurelia Casey.
Yeah. Yep.
Magic!
I think it's Ace Casey.
There you are! You found you!
Oh, wonderful.
And then your YouTube channel is called Aurelia Casey.
That's
URL.
awesome.
URL.
I was thinking competently when I set that up, apparently.
And let's see, your URL is go there. And YouTube. I think it's underscore ENEMD. No, sorry, that's not it. That's the share link. How do I find your URL?
This is why I'm asking you. You're my programmer person.
Yeah,
but
I'm on my phone. I need to get on my computer to get it. Let me turn around.
If I look at my videos, I might be able to get to it.
You guys look like you're sitting back to back for a moment. It was really. I'm going to go ahead and continue this. Anila continued writing, loved the whole thing. As someone else said, it felt like a real convention in a lot of ways. All of it was excellent, thanks to Angela B. Chrysler and the mods and organizer. It was fabulous. Thank you. And this was my first year, Ash says. I was completely blown away by the enormity of it all. Well organized and excellently run all around. Yay! Yay! That's a huge thing for me. And then I've been popping back and forth between Helldat and the Fairgrounds on Facebook. Belinda Clemens wrote, meeting the different authors and finding books in genres I haven't read yet. And Debbie Joyce wrote, finding new authors. And then I wrote, we're in closing ceremonies. So I'm going to go ahead and start posting our group here around so people can find us, and they'll know that we are starting up things to wrap it up in an end. In about 30 minutes, I'm going to announce the final winner of Cover Wars. Aurelia, how is your how are the giveaways going?
We're getting there. My laptop decided to be slow because I haven't actually turned it off yet, so it hasn't had a chance to sleep. So it's the internet is slowing down, which is making it a little bit frustrating. But we're getting pretty close. We're getting pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm on the romance one, so then I have fantasy and nonfiction after that, I think.
So for the Blab interviews, Angela's worked out fine. The two from Friday worked out fine. I still don't know if the one from today with the sisters. I don't know if that worked out. When I checked on it, it hadn't completely processed for whatever reason. But the other people that were Saturday morning are the people I have to reconnect with. So I'll try and do that this week with all of them. But I'm going to post those on the Back Porch Writer YouTube channel. I set that up specifically because of this, actually, because I didn't have a need for it before now. So they'll be over there. So you should be able to get that information from there and put it wherever you want to put it once they're up there. So that's how you can find those. So if you want to put them on Brain to Books or whatever, that's where that's going to be. If you want just the audio from it, then you just need to send me a message and let me know, because they'll send that to me as a separate file, and so I'll have the audio. So that's what you can do with that stuff.
Speaking of audio, I'm really excited because my mom is getting Dragon Pro, so I'll be able to put all of my audio files through there and get transcription. I'm looking forward to it. It hasn't come yet. And then I'm going to have to train it, but like...
Yeah. Train your dragon.
You gotta train your dragon. And there's a whole movie that teaches you how to do it.
It's one of those things I am not going to do because I don't have the patience for it. But I know a lot about Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
I didn't know it did the transcription, though. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that stuff.
It does. So the version my mom is getting is because she's doing therapy sessions and she needs transcriptions of that for legal purposes. I think. And the version she has right now only does one voice. It won't do a 2-voice audio file. And the new one will. So she's getting it for that reason, and I'm like, you're allowed to have 2 people use it. That means I get to use it too.
That is awesome.
I know, all the tools are just so much fun. Most of them are really fun to learn, I have to say.
Yeah.
Some are more frustrating than others.
They all have quirks.
My next tool is going to be Camtasia, so I'm going to look at that and see what I think of that
a couple times in undergrad.
Yeah, at one point this year or probably next year, I want to buy Final Draft. So that's my goal at one point.
My next thing is actually Story Shop, because I'm on the beta list for that. I'm very excited.
Okay, Story Shop is the SPP guys, right?
It's an application so that you can organize your world building and your character development and your outlining in a way that you can export it into Scrivener.
Oh wow. Okay.
And it looks like you're making a Twitter profile for your character.
Really?
And when you're writing your scenes, you can put hashtags for the places, and you can put mentions for the characters, so it's all interlinked, and so you don't have to remember, where did I save that other file? Where did I put that picture? It's all... I'm so excited for it.
Eventually, I will try to get Scrivener, but right now I'm looking at Final Draft because I sent Joe my movie script, and that's something that I want to get done. So Final Draft is something that I will be going to.
What is that for? Final Draft.
Screenwriter.
Screenwriting. Okay.
Yeah. And like Scrivener, I used the sample software, and I was so overwhelmed when I tried it.
It's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
You have to really go through their tutorials and stuff.
Yeah. And for me, I find that I write better when I just write and see where the book takes me.
See, Scrivener lets you do that. You just have to know how to make it look right.
Yeah.
There's a keyboard shortcut for it.
Yeah. Eventually, I will get to Scrivener, but for right now, I just put everything in Word and then start that. When the book really comes together is when the editing comes together, because then that's when things get cut out. Things don't get cut out, and I find out where the plot actually went, which is actually fun for me too, because I find out what was happening in my book. Because I don't read my book as I write it, which is one of those things, people say, oh, you should reread, and I think it was Frost or who was it? Who wrote the Old Man in the of the Sea or something? The Old Man and the Whale.
The Old Man and the Sea. That would be Ernest Hemingway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hemingway.
Ernest Hemingway said you should reread your book from the beginning every single day before you start writing your next section of the book. And I can't do that because if I do that, I find myself fixing the same chapter over and over and over, and I'll never move on. But this way, I'll go where I'm going, and then I'll get to the end. And the way that I write is I'll write each chapter individually as its own story,
Mm-hmm.
and then piece it together and meld it into one work.
Mhm.
And when I tried Scrivener that one time, I was so overwhelmed. So eventually, I will go back. Eventually.
I use
With Scrivener,
I will
use what?
I use Word. I will always use Word.
Yeah.
It'll be Word 1600, and I will still be using Word.
And I use Scrivener, and I like it because I set up everything in chapters and then scenes, and I write.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'll do a chapter, and I know it's going to have 5 to 6 scenes in it, and then I'll write those scenes. And I don't go back and read from the beginning. I usually go back to read the scene before, and then move to the next scene. So I don't go all the way back unless I have to look for something. I don't go back all the way,
Yeah.
and then I move forward. But Scrivener, I mean, it's got. I have a whole book on Scrivener and stuff, but I did just say to my husband today, one of the things I'm going to do is there's a Scrivener class that this guy named Joseph something or other
I did
put
that, and it's
together, and I've been
totally worth
watching
it.
him for
It's
years,
like
and
2-minute
that's what I
clip,
said today.
and each 2-minute clip tells you one thing. So you
Yeah.
can go through his list and be like, okay, I want to figure out how to do that, and I want to figure out how to do that, and the rest of it I don't care about yet.
Did
Yeah.
he do it all in Mac for the Mac version, or does he talk about using it for PC?
He does. It's mostly Mac, but the differences are so little that they almost don't matter. But he does make a point of he will tell you what the differences are.
Okay, because I really wondered that because the book I picked up tells you it has Mac and PC, so that I can
He
see the
might have
differences
updated it.
and things like that.
I took it ages ago.
It's so funny. Like I said, just today I said I'm going to do that class. I'm tired of dinking around with Scrivener. I've had it for a long time, and I thought I have it figured out by now, and I don't. So
And there are so many things that it can do that I don't use it for.
yeah,
But again, I treat it's a virtual binder. Like that binder that you carried around in high school where you kept everything organized and you had your notes in one place.
Trapper Keeper.
Yeah.
The Trapper Keeper.
Yeah. So I like that.
I do love it. I do like using Scrivener. I find it very useful, for sure.
What are you looking forward to tomorrow, everyone? Joe, sleeping. But aside from Joe, what is everyone looking forward to?
I
have a podcast to record.
Yeah,
I'll be working on a podcast.
I got my new romance novel that I'm kicking off the writing. I got my fantasy novel, which I gotta write 30,000 more words to finish it off, and then decide if I'm gonna put it back into its original 4 books, or if I'm gonna just split it into 2. Yeah. Then I have to make the scheduling for my author spotlights for the next. I got 4 people, I think, altogether, or maybe 3. So I'm gonna be doing that. No, actually, I got more because I still have to email Joe about it, and I gotta email Angela about it, and start to see who's going to go where and get the information together. Then after that, I should be I would say at chapter 6 in my new romance novel by June. That includes planning the men in romance and women in fantasy little panel that I want to try to put together with your guys' help. So that's what's running through my head for tomorrow, to get all that organized, to see how I'm going to do it. Not doing it yet, just to see how I'm going to do it. I also need some rest because I stayed up almost as much as Joe.
Yeah. No,
I feel
you're.
Joe's pain.
No, I
Um,
am. Kudos to you. I am so thrilled to have you join us. It was. I'll tell you, I'm going through a bit of a culture shock. I'm not going to lie. It's wonderful. It's just mind-boggling how many different countries, cultures, people, accents came together this weekend, and it's just
yeah.
phenomenal experience. Just phenomenal. It was just wonderful. I love people. I love you people. It's
No,
just
and it's
so
one of those
wonderful.
things where I was very impressed with the fact that I didn't get to meet everybody that showed up because that would be impossible. But through these 72-hour chats, and when I just jumped in, and my wife asked me yesterday, right before I went to my reading club, she goes, "What do you mean when you come back home, you're going to jump on again? You know, don't these other people have lives? Aren't they working?" And I said, "No, this is a convention. You know, this is already pre-planned. I'm just gonna dial in, and not there'll be people there." And then when I came back, the funny thing is when I came back, after telling that to my wife, when I came back, I called in, and the only person that was there was Karina, and we started talking for a little bit while Joe was setting it up. So, but yeah,
And it's not the way, yeah, yeah.
my wife understood, that, because she's never seen me like this because I've never had this opportunity before. So
Yeah.
she never, and now that she saw it, she's like, she can understand it, um,
Hmm.
and accept it, but it's still something that, it's my thing that I need to go through, and I can't relax in the other parts of my life. So, um, I am running on fumes, but it's all right. I had an awesome time.
Yeah. I
Have
am
any of you
curious.
checked out?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm dying
Have
to hear
any
what
of you? Okay. Have any of you checked out Ally, Alliance of Independent Authors, and their last year they did
I
Indie
have.
Recon, and the year before they did Indie Recon. Now they're doing, I think it's 3 or 4 separate events tied to specific like London Book Fair, Book Expo,
And
that sort of thing.
yeah, and the
So it's
first
Indie
one's coming up
Fridge
really
event.
soon.
It is coming up really soon. It's like next weekend or something like that. It's coming up really soon. And a lot of the speakers it's all online and everything. It's free, and the speakers are the usual suspects. I mean, for this particular one, I know Joanna Penn's doing it. I think Mark Dawson's doing it. I'm fairly certain Nick Stevenson's doing it. But in any case, Indie Recon last year was awesome. It was a great event. So I expect that this what they're doing this way is going to be just as awesome for people. And part of the reason it's great is because they go into it's specific to authors, not readers. So it's
Oh, okay.
specific to authors and teaching you trade and entrepreneurship and things like that. And this particular lineup, a lot of them I've been exposed to so far, so I probably won't participate in this one. But it really is very good and well
Mhm.
organized and just an amazing event. So that's something to look at into, Jen. If you've never looked at that,
Yeah.
you might want. It's coming up, so you
Can you
might
give
want
me,
to check
can
that
you
one out.
email me the link?
I
Can
think you can
I will
find it
make a
on
note.
the Alliance of Independent Authors
It's oh,
homepage.
it's
It
it's on
probably
their
is the
website.
first thing you come across when you Google them.
Without a doubt, it's on their website.
Alliance of
Independent independent authors. And you don't have to be a member to do that or anything. But I will say last year when I did Indie Recon, that's what made me decide to become a member. It was the result of that.
Yeah, I want
Well,
Abyssinian
look
Books
at
TA.
this. I
What's it
wish I
called?
had known this. Oh, we're gonna so use this for next year. Do you need an author publisher for your event, speaking engagement, or media appearance? Yes. Yeah, that's reading literary event. Genre, advice how to, mystery. That is awesome. Location. Location's going to be an issue because it's everywhere online. Don't care. I love Eurozone, including Ireland. No,
That's
that's
because the founder is Irish.
no. This is phenomenal. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
I don't know. I like being my brain to book separate, and yeah. No, And I'll tell you, I'm going to go over the numbers one more time and then again because it just blows my mind. 160 people up to 775.
Mhm.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And I'm
This
like,
is one of the reasons why this is such a cool event is because it's readers and authors
yeah,
together. That's
yeah.
and I just think that's so neat. That's
It
just fun,
is. It
you know.
is.
It's fun. I
Yeah.
had a great time in those the takeover events I did. I had a great
Hmm.
time. Did one yesterday, one today,
Yeah.
and it was really fun. It's like, dang, people were
Matthew,
actually engaging with me.
yeah, I know it's wonderful. Matthew and I were talking about it, and he did propose maybe we had too many Facebook events going on.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I scheduled mine, and then there was overspill, and I brought in Matt to pick up that overspill. And then, I mean, that's in addition to Goodreads. And then I had Tabitha Barrett who asked if she could set up her own. And I loved her idea. She did paranormal fantasy and romance. So I'm thinking maybe if we have Facebook events for different genres
That
only,
would be awesome.
as
I
opposed
think,
to just one melting pot.
That
I
actually
think
would be
it would be
cool.
fun to sort of have a way that the Facebook event for, say, fantasy would be going on not at the same time as the panel,
Right.
so
You
that
got to
fantasy
coordinate that.
people can like be doing things fantasy related in different places,
I'm
one
Hmm.
thinking
place
it
at a
would
time.
follow up. I'm thinking it would follow up or end. And we would have to synchronize it because you could come off a fantasy panel and announce, okay, so we're done here with this fantasy discussion. We're going to go ahead now over to Facebook and we're going to start the fantasy Facebook takeover. And in addition to that, we're also going to jump over here and the Facebook are the fantasy blog tours going on and the fantasy giveaways is going on. And I
Mm.
think if we synchronize it that way by genre, and as I said, next year instead of doing fairgrounds and then melting pot 5 pages to 7 pages worth, I'm going to do fairgrounds fantasy, fairgrounds romance. So I think if we go more genre,
Genre specific. Put
yeah,
mystery thriller together.
mystery thriller, okay.
Yeah.
But I think you need to keep romance and erotica separate.
Romance
Yes.
in one, erotica in the other.
Yes.
Yeah, there are a lot
Yes.
of romance readers who don't want anything to
Don't want
do
that.
with erotica.
Okay. All right. I
And
had a
on
lot
top of
of
that, if
Um,
you do interviews like the way that I was doing the Blab interviews, I can even do those as genre specific time slots.
yeah.
So
with
if it was
with
fantasy, I do okay, this hour fantasy.
Hmm.
with the romance, separating the erotica and the regular romance or the milder romance, um, I would separate them, but I would still keep them not that far apart, just because some authors might feel pushed out, because they're saying, "Well, I'm erotica, but I'm still romance. Why is this one separated?" And
Then just make it romance erotica.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
As
That's
a
what I
'cause
mean. That's what I mean.
there's
Well,
romance suspense.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a
that's what
category.
I mean. But we don't want to also fragment it too much, where it's now we're back to the same tons of pages.
Yeah. One of the things that I was thinking is if we're going to do that, then that will allow authors to have multiple pages, multiple booths. Because now, like, I would post in fantasy and
and
I
then
would
it's
also post
easier
in
to know
romance.
what you're gonna put in your booth, and it's
Yeah.
easier to not confuse because I write everything, and I
Yeah.
Yeah,
only managed to post about one of my stories because
Yeah.
of time, but it would have
yeah,
ended up looking confusing if you'd gone to my booth and you were looking for romance. There was like one post about that wasn't eye catching, and then there was one that was eye catching that was fantasy.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And then one of the things that when I mentioned this to Angela the other day, one of the things that I was thinking about when I about this separation is also so that authors have like almost a block of time when they during that block of time they're more likely to be on, which is more
Yeah.
interactive, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like that. And I think if we keep it so it's not strictly, the first 12 hours is fantasy, but that's it.
Yeah,
And then the first 12 hours is sci-fi, and then we're done for the weekend. I think if we do it in pockets
yeah,
so
yeah,
that
Right. Well,
I
and
think that'll
you'll
be
want
best.
things that, maybe something romance is going on at the same time as something fantasy so that
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
there's
say romance.
separation and it's all
Well,
woven together.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
because I think that's how they do it at live conventions. Is they
I
have
think it is.
I think they have different events, and you do have to choose which ones you're going to go to.
You
And
have to
next
make
year,
choices, yeah.
I am so excited about this idea I had. 2 days before the convention, I thought, you know what would be awesome is if I had an actual pamphlet, because you get those when you go to a convention. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that would be awesome if I could actually hand it to the readers. So next year I'm going to do an actual pamphlet, and I'm probably going to actually physically order them and mail them out to people stateside only. And I'll probably have a digital one made up as well to push out. So I will be actually handing out pamphlets next year. So you can get a pre-packet. This is what it is.
If we can, so something to think about is if we can organize it enough that that pamphlet is something we can print.
Yep.
And like do a trifold.
Yep.
We can take
yep.
to our local libraries, and it can be a grassroots effort to get local communities involved, which is kind of what I wanted to do with the. I made a thing and then told people where they could get it, but nobody I wasn't around often enough to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Aurelia, you and I should get together and do a tutorial on Google Hangouts.
Yeah, it's something I've been meaning to do. The problem is, I think it might cause technical glitches if I'm on a Hangout recording how to make a Hangout. I think I need to do it as a screen capture.
Well, let me set
video.
it up. I'll set it up for you, and then we can go through it together, and then we can show them how we interact and everything, and show everything.
One of the things I wanted to do is remember what I was going to say.
That's always good. I'm still working on getting these things like sorted properly for the giveaways. It's coming soon. It's coming soon.
It's coming soon. Yes, and in a moment here, I already have the Google Forms up. I'm already looking at the winner. I'm not going to share it with anyone just yet. I'm going to build suspense. In 1 hour, we have had 200. I'm sorry. In 2 hours, we have had 268 votes come in on these covers. So it's just phenomenal. And I do love the covers. I just was floored by them.
I missed the cover stuff. You talked about covers. I missed it.
We have 2 covers left, and we have 268 votes in for the last 2 hours. So I sent out this mass message to everyone saying, you know, cover wars are up. This is what's going on. The other thing I need to do is pre-set up a newsletter that I send out. And everything is staying up. I am keeping everything posted in Goodreads next year. One of the things that I did in the beginning of this year, I went through and I cleaned up the fairgrounds, so I deleted a lot of it or I archived it. I will not be archiving this year. What I will be doing is telling people, if you want in, let me know or something. I really have to pull myself out more as the middleman, but I'm going to have it set up so that they can actually reuse their booths instead of having to rebuild it. But I mean, and I have everyone's booths already there from 2014. It's still there. It's archived. So anyone could have gone in at any moment and grabbed their booth and used it. And I don't think people realize that. That's what I wanted to say, Aurelia. I'm going to be grabbing the welcome packet that you made, and I'm going to I have a couple books that I'm working on. One of them is an actual marketing guide to our Brain to Books author marketing guide, and that will actually be a book. I will be publishing it later this year. I'm going to be starting a book building series through Brain to Books. And I think that'll actually do very well. I'm hoping. Charlene is behind. She is my motivation behind this. And after the summer,
I'm working on something similar, but at a different level than you are.
Charlene really suggested it, and she was very, very passionate about me pursuing this. So yes, Jen.
I'm gonna have to bow out because I need to get at least 1 more hour of sleep before I have to head out the door. So I want to say again, thank you very much for having me on. Thank you for letting me speak as much as I did. I know I took a lot of time from other people. Maybe they wanted to speak.
No, we absolutely loved hearing you.
And again, Joe and Angela and Aurelia, you guys will be hearing from me. Corey, you heard from me already, so I'm just waiting to see to get your response, and then we'll figure out a time frame if I can be a guest on your indie author um, show. Sorry,
Would
my
that be
brain is.
easier than Would
Huh?
that be easier than Back Porch Writer? Well, Back
Whichever
Porch Writer is
one,
9:30 in the
whichever
morning.
one. Well, this is the thing. Whichever one you decide you want to do with me, I will make it work. um, it's just I'm that flexible. We just figure out a time frame, and I will do whatever. I'm basically a whore for attention. That's why I keep
We're gonna.
talking.
Are we
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
pre-record, Jen? Are we gonna pre-record it? Will that be easier?
It depends on the time that you want.
It'll be
If you want,
9:30. I mean, the times for me are set, so it's either 9:30 in the
uh,
morning on Tuesday or 11 o'clock on Tuesday, and that's Central Daylight
what
Time. Those
what
times
time is
never
it now right
change.
now? What time is it now right now with you?
8 o'clock in the evening.
8 o'clock in the evening. So your 9:30 was about 12 hours ago.
Don't make me do math in my head.
I know I'm doing it in my head. I'm doing it in my head. Don't worry. Um, we
I'm a writer.
because
I don't do math.
because of the time that I finish my work, there is a high chance that we will be able to do it live.
Which
So
one?
without pre-recording, because I finish my work at sorry, I right now it is 10 o'clock in the morning here, and 12 hours ago it was 12 o'clock at night, and I was home. Um, so it's 8 o'clock where you are now. 12 hours ago was 8 o'clock in the night. 9:30 is an hour after that, so that's around the time that I get home from work. Depending on the day, it would be around 10, 9:30, 10:30 at night, my time. So depending, I have to double check the numbers, but there's a high chance that we will be able to do it live without pre-recording.
Okay, so we just need to figure out dates then. Okay,
Yeah.
I can throw out some dates for you.
Yeah, once you throw out the dates for me, and also if you need a different time or if you need a different thing or a different setup, I will gladly accommodate. um, that's just the joy of being me.
Hmm.
But yeah,
We'll figure it out.
I have to turn off my brain now. So you guys all have a good one. Thank you again for having me, and I will be in contact with everybody that I'm supposed to be in contact with. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, Jen.
Yeah.
So, are we ready for the
We-
jackpot giveaways?
Well, let me first. It's 9:03, so I'm going to go ahead now and close down the cover wars. And I think this is the only cover war that I'm actually doing on time, so that is a big deal to me. I've learned a lot, and one of the things I learned was I am the helpline for the Brain to Book Cyber Convention, and I will always be the helpline, and that's fine. I'm great with that, but it is so much of a job that I cannot be doing cover wars and promoting myself as an author. So next year I will have
We
to be
need
passing
technical
cover.
support. That is not you.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah.
Technical support person who knows what's going
Yeah.
on.
So, and it would have been fine if I could have gotten set up on Brackify or a program that does that, but because it didn't work out for me, I went ahead and just put it together through Google Forms, and I love Google Forms, but it was just not. I needed to do that auto thing that Joe does with his Brackify. It was just beautiful how it worked, and I'm
It takes them a while to get back to you. I think I wanted to set something up, and they still.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
got back to me, but
What
then-
happened with on the thing that Joe did for your antagonist and protagonist?
Yeah.
What happened with that? Because I lost the link and I couldn't go check in. And what happened with that?
Bergen came in second. That's what I'm telling people.
No. Uh, there was a winner. Hang on, I'll go get it.
I like put my antagonist in there, and then I forgot to like tell people where it was or how to get to it or anything.
I forgot that I even submitted Bergen. I'm sitting there, we're going through the winners. I announced the cover war winners, and then Joe goes, "Okay, it looks like Bergen like won that round. This is the first round." And I went, what? Who? He goes, Angela, help me with this. Bergen Trigvis? He's in this? I have no idea. I completely forgot that I submitted him. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, go Bergen. And I didn't tell people nothing. It was just, yeah.
Yeah.
Tabitha Barrett had both of hers in the finals. So her protagonist and antagonist both were in the final.
Yeah.
And her protagonist, Anjali, won.
Yay, Tabitha. Does she know? Does she know yet?
No.
Tabitha.
Who won antagonist?
Are you watching? I'm going to jump over to her event.
Her antagonist was the
Hey, I have an idea for next year.
Yes. Tell us your idea
So
for
she
next
won
year.
for both?
Can we have Reader's Choice Awards for each of the genres for books?
Ooh! I'm writing that down.
What?
Write that down, Aurelia.
Reader's Choice Awards for books.
Write that down, Aurelia.
But you have to do that by genre.
Yeah.
Are you writing? I'm over at Facebook.
How hard would it be to do Cover Wars as a more of a genre-specific thing? Because this one was heavy fantasy in terms of
in fantasy
covers.
It's a heavy genre. No, fantasy is a heavy genre.
But I think there's a lot more people who know about Brain to Books who are fantasy because Angela's first book was fantasy.
Yeah.
And a lot of us found her because we were looking for fantasy.
That's my fault. A fantasy author tipped the scales. So.
And it's
because
a whole
it really
lot
is hard to.
But yeah.
Looking at the covers, because I voted in the Cover Wars and everything, and I noticed there were a lot of fantasy ones, but it leaned towards that, even if you were voting for covers that weren't typically fantasy covers. So it'd be neat if it were nice if it were maybe that genre specific even within that, but I don't know how hard it is.
It would also be interesting, Angela, if you could put those covers that were finalists on a page on your website.
That'd be
so
cool.
that people who don't know what good covers should look like can go find out.
Oh, one of my favorites was...
They are there. I did that.
Okay.
You can click on it. And I actually have buy links as well. If you get to the last one, it's like if you liked any of these covers and want to learn more, here's where, and there's a link to my website on that one page where people can actually look up the books. So when you see like the Cogsmith's Daughter, and yeah, I'm pulling on that one because that cover was gorgeous.
I love that cover.
You can't see it. You cannot see it. But I got her. She sent me a cover blown up. It was like a large pic. So when I opened it, it filled my screen. The detail in that cover, astounding. I'm just looking at it like, oh, and I had to shrink it down to upload it. I actually think I had to send her an email and say I need something smaller because it won't upload. So you really have to see like a 3,000 pixel and zoom in to see that detail. Stunning cover, beautiful. But if you saw that and then you pulled it up on my website, you could actually get the details on it. You could go to Amazon and buy it. I just love that.
Yeah, I think definitely make it, if it's not too much trouble for Cover Wars, make it a little more genre specific, but not overly so, but some sort of categories so it's not heavy fantasy. So then when you go to put it on your Brain to Books next year, you'll have the categories. Like here's in fantasy, here are the ones that did really well. Here are the in mystery thriller, in romance or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, children's, because some of them were not children's necessarily, but more like middle grade or young adult.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the ones that I saw, you know, and I voted for some of them because I really liked those covers. But and then there were some amazing covers in there.
Yeah, I was struggling when I did start setting it up. I did post it so that it was one over here, one over there. Where I was trying to do them a genre first. And what I noticed was I did have so many fantasies, and Google Forms does limit you as to how much data you can upload on one certain section, which is why it got broken into 5 parts, is because every one of them was at a max where you couldn't upload any more. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, I'm going to have to break this up into sections and use multiple forms. So when I did that, then I'm like, well, let's go ahead and divide this up into genre. And what had ended up happening was I had 66 covers to divide. And I definitely had young adult in one section. And I had fantasy trumping this other section, and I had sci-fi. And then I had a very small percentage that was romance. And I'm like, And then I had latecomers. I had people who realized that the deadline was approaching, and they were suddenly blasting me. And I had already set up everything, and it was like 2 days later, and I was still getting covers, and I was adding them. So it got to a point where I'm just like, I'm just going to throw these in there. And I know one romance cover was pitted against a young adult children's cover. I hated doing it. And I'm just like, that is just so horrible of me. But at the same time, at one point, they are going to be pitting off. So, and it was really hard. It really was. And again, we were also looking at how much time I had, and it was just.
Is there a way to, because I don't know how the thing that Joe was doing, how that works either, but is there a way to put this genre specific, and then you only are competing within that genre? So you're saying you would have had to pit this against that with, two different genres.
Yeah.
Is there a way to make it within a genre and pit them together? I don't know. That's what I'm asking. I have no idea how any of that works. I know it's time consuming, and I know you're going to have to let somebody else do it, but I'm wondering how it can be done.
Yeah, and I would love for somebody else to do the cover wars. I was looking for somebody, and I didn't know how to do it. This was my first cover wars, and I was trying to find somebody else to do it, and everyone was going, I don't know. I've attended them, but I don't know how. So I was like, okay. And I really, really wanted to cover wars in this convention. I'm like, no, we cannot do this and not have a cover wars. So I did
what
do
Corey
it
asked in the Brackify, but it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
But once you set it, the cool thing about Brackify, once you set it up, it's done. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
It just runs automatically from that point forward. But it's a lot of work to set it up.
I think we need a
What do
call
you mean
for
by a lot of work?
volunteers.
You have to put each individual cover in there and all the information in there, and then save it. And then if you're going to do it by genres, you could do that. And then if you wanted to, are you going to combine them at the end and have a champion of all champions, or are you just going to have one champion for each genre?
No, I would say within categories.
Okay, so each tournament you'll have to set up individually anyway with the genre. You can't do one unless you only had six different covers. Then you could do one side of the bracket, this cover, this, but it has to have a winner. So if you're going to do it by genre, you can only do one bracket for that genre, because if you mix up the genres, then you're going to have an ultimate winner instead of just one winner from each genre.
Can you send me a link about that stuff?
Yeah.
If you're keeping track of it, though, Joe, do you know who won each bracket, right?
Yeah, it's all real time and automated. I don't do any of that.
Right, but so when you're looking at it, could you have an overall winner?
Yes.
And category winners from one bracket?
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome.
But that's if you want to mix them up. If you want just one fantasy winner, one romance winner, and you don't want them to compete against each other, then you have to do separate brackets.
See, and I think the reason I'm saying this is because if you've got the requirements for someone who's doing a romance novel cover versus a cozy mystery versus a mystery thriller cover versus a fantasy cover, if you say, okay, who's the overall winner, that if you've got the majority of the people that come to Brain to Books are fantasy people, you're going to get a fantasy cover as the overall winner. That's the end result. So the value of that to me is less than if you just do categories and you keep it, because those requirements are really different. I can look at a cozy mystery cover and say that's cozy mystery, that's mystery thriller, or whatever. And so that's why I would say keeping them separate would be good until Brain to Books has a little more balance in it and isn't fantasy heavy.
Yeah.
Once you see more balance, then you could do, I think, an overall. But otherwise, you're going to just end up with fantasy.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry.
It's not your fault. It's just
it's
an observation.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
It's
Corey.
an observation. That's just the way it would be.
Yeah. We have comments regarding this conversation. First of all, we have Heidi Angel who's listening and watching all this. Joe,
why is she not talking to us in the video?
I know. Well, yeah, I don't know. And send her a link. Bring her in. Anita Stewart, would you like to join us? And Rebecca McCrae, would you like to join us? Come on in. We have Heidi says.
I want to go to sleep at some point in my life.
I know. We're almost done, Joe. It's okay. It's all right.
What do you mean you want to go? Isn't there an after party or something?
Go another couple hours, Angela. I'm sorry. I gotta end this at some point. It's gotta end.
Okay. All right. Well, I will read you what Heidi says here. She says, Corey, love the idea of just doing cover wars within the genre. And she's waving, I volunteer for next year. And I'm saying, you got it. So thank you, Heidi.
Really?
Yep. She's doing cover wars.
All
so
right.
you can do it. Yes, yes.
Joe,
you're on.
you need to send that link. Send that link to her. Don't send it to me.
Cool. I will. No problem.
She wants it.
I want to volunteer for the things I did this year.
Yes, you are doing the things you did this year. And
I want to re-volunteer.
yes.
Including I will make printable things that people can download and print and pass out at libraries and cafes and places where local readers hang out. Yeah.
Independent bookstore sense.
Yeah. Well, and I had this idea, and because I moved in the middle of the planning thing, I couldn't actually do it, but I had this idea that it would be really cool to talk to libraries and to independent bookstores and get some broadcast events happening at local places where there's a physical audience in the room, but there's
oh my God, I can do that.
set up to be recorded and broadcast live to anyone who wants to watch it online. Yeah, I think that would be so cool.
I might be able to make that happen where I am, because our local library is really open to things because it's a smaller community. Right. So it's really open. I might be able to do something like that.
And the other thing is you could even have, you could do a book reading at the library that's recorded and broadcast to all of us. But you can also have the library be playing the live feed.
I'm gonna go ahead and announce the winner.
I'll need help with tech.
Hey Joe, can you explain all the tech to all the people?
Yeah, right now.
I will need help with tech, but I'm willing to give it a try. I'm willing to say, let's try this.
I have an idea. I'm gonna go ahead and announce the winner for Cover Wars because Joe looks like he's gonna fall down.
Yeah, and I need to do all the giveaways. I have the winners sitting in front of me ready for
great. And then we can close this down. Joe can pass out and go to sleep for 5 days. In the meantime, Aurelia, how do you feel about opening up a new Google Hangout chat, and we can bring everybody in for the after party? And because I think there's only 11 people attending the after party, and we can be in there and here, and it'll be so much nicer because it's just one location in here. So.
Yeah,
but
let me.
We want to bring you back in because we have an after party coming, and Joe needs to sleep.
Should we have this after party be recorded? Yes.
Yeah, let's record it. Yeah, absolutely, let's record it. I'm gonna go ahead and announce the cover war. It came down to 2 book covers, of course. We have Ignited by Lori Wetzel. And for those of you who can't see this, because I can't literally take my thing and like smash it together so you can see it, Ignited has flames of fire like whooshing up one side, whoosh, and water going
I know that cover.
Up that one. And there's a bridge and cherry blossoms coming down over it. It is gorgeous. And the one it is pitted up against is Amy Bierce. Now, Amy Bierce, and this is because I saw this cover, and my daughter flipped out, and I'm just like, this is going to be. This is Amy Bierce's first book, Fairy Keeper, and her second book, she made it to the final rounds. And so Amy Bierce's covers made it all the way to the last 4 choices. Fairy Keeper actually lost to Ignited, and her second book, Mer Charmer, made it to the final up against Ignited. So Ignited is like, we're going to see how here. Mer Charmer is Sophia, that's the character's name, underwater with mermaids. And my daughter's already throwing this book in my face going, Mom, you've got to read this book. I read an excerpt. It's beautiful. Okay, and the winner of our cover wars for the Brain to Book Cyber Convention is Ignited.
Okay.
There needs to be more. There needs to be like...
You need like drum. You need like real drums. You need some sound effects.
I have another idea.
Like Popper.
So I have a subscription to Pond 5 because I keep coming up with podcast ideas, and they have like stock images and stock video and stock sound and all of that stuff. So what I'll do is I'll acquire some sounds
Okay, that's
throughout the
great.
year from my subscription,
I
and
actually
then I will
that
have the
on my
right
phone.
to use those sounds, and then we can have
Right, but
music.
you also need you need the poppers. You know those little poppers?
Yeah,
They're like
yeah,
this big,
noise
and you
Yes,
just
I do
makers.
know
Yeah.
those.
And I want the little and Joe's just going, I don't care.
All right, Joe. Let's put you out of your misery. All right, non-fiction. Non-fiction jackpot winner is E. Jones. We need where is it? The effects. Let me come up with effects.
here we go. Snapping. Does that work?
Eyewear, facial hair, props, sounds. Awesome.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh my God!
All
You
right.
can do that in Google Plus. That's cool.
Yes. Okay. So next we have romance. And the winner of romance is Ash Crafton. And fantasy. The winner of fantasy is Ashley Nestler.
I'll be contacting you. I have books to send you.
The science fiction winner is Lisa Crow. The thriller winner is Beverly Coulard. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It looks French.
I have problems with French names.
It's Couillard, and like when it's like that, I'm like, do I do it the French way or the Spanish way?
Where the English way? What do I do?
Yeah, I get confused.
I had a problem
that's
last
what
night.
happens when you
Can I
know too
explain?
many languages, and then you don't know which pronunciation system to use, and then you get confused. All right, YA and middle grade winner is Amy Landis.
Love that applause. Beautiful.
Yay. So I will be emailing you probably tomorrow, and I will be contacting all of the authors probably tomorrow, so you will all know everything.
What we're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Send this to so and so. Got it. I'll be using BookFunnel.
Yeah, and winners, I will make sure that you have the view link for the Excel spreadsheet so that you can, make a list and check people off as they get back to you, so that if someone doesn't get back to you, you can let me or Angela know.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Are you ready to go to sleep? I think you're ready to sleep.
Yeah, sure. If you're gonna let me.
Yes. All right, here's the plan. We are shutting this down, and we are opening up a new one. I'm going to go ahead and post it across everything. If you want to join, and if you are awake and all pumped up, by all means, email, I guess, Aurelia, email me at angelabchrysler.com, and I will send it over to.
I'm about to give you.
You can also post it in our Facebook after party.
Yeah, if I go over to that, and I'll just link from there. I mean, I'll come in from there.
I'm putting where is too many tabs. Okay, in the chat, I just put the YouTube link for the after party I just made. And I'll email. I don't know, who should I email? Should I email all the people?
No, just email me. I'll take care of it, honey.
Just email you? Okay.
Yeah, just email me, because everyone should have my email address, angelabchrysler@yahoo.com.
Yeah,
email me. I want in. Make it sound like we're up to something. I want in. Ooh, that's really a good idea. Oh, I already got something here from Heidi. One moment here.
I want in. Can you just let me know?
Me, she says, me. So Heidi wants in.
Heidi and Corey and Angela, I will email the three of you.
Send me the link.
I'll email the three of you.
And I want to have a conversation
Heidi
about
also
Angela.
Bye, Joe. Sleep tight. You rock. But there's
Angela,
exclamation points.
do you like Yahoo or do you like Gmail? Like, I
It
know you
doesn't
tell
matter.
me
Send it to
it
Yahoo.
doesn't matter, but like I can
Send
still
it to Yahoo.
confusing.
Send it to Yahoo. After the convention, everything is getting switched over. Switched over to my Gmail account. I didn't want to say like 2 months ago. So hi guys, I got 2 emails.